Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this story
Vink's the name. Dr. Vink.
Dr. Vink?
Vink with a V.
We are here with the famous Dr. Vink, one of the most famous characters in Canadian history in television. He was a big part of my childhood.
Into God's ears, as we say.
He's a big part of my childhood. Are You Afraid of the Dark was one of my favorite shows growing up as a child.
Did you know that my wife was?
Yeah.
Yes,
We watched it. We watched all your episodes last night.
Because she's here now.
In episode 4, right?
She was the first.
Oh, right. There was a pilot, and then they
pilot.
changed it to episode
They
4.
made, yeah, you know, that's right.
That's
That was the
amazing.
pilot,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's really an honor to meet you. I know a lot of you have a lot of fans.
Evidently, yeah.
Definitely, you have a lot of fans. And Are You Afraid of the Dark is still a cult classic today.
Yeah.
Dr. Vink is definitely one of the most notable characters and memorable characters amongst child and teen television. So it's a great
Tell
honor.
that to what do you call it? What's the name of that production company?
As a CNR or
Well, CNR, yes. You can tell that. Yeah, say that to them and the other one.
DJ McHale.
Yeah,
DJ
DJ,
McHale.
right.
I wrote him an email
He's in California. So.
requesting him to maybe create a future film now that Goosebumps is releasing a film. I know you were also in an episode of Goosebumps.
Yes, I was.
I think it was the 8th episode of the first season.
Yeah, I was the puppet, the actual the piano teacher.
Yes.
Who turns out to be a creation of the janitor
Right.
of the building.
That's also a great episode.
That's weird. It's the same. Never mind.
Can I help you?
I was just trying to see who's playing in there.
Hi, I'm Adele Hawkins. This is my son, Jerry.
Ah, Mr. Hawkins. I'm Dr. Shriek. I know it's a funny name, but it's a real attention getter. Have you ever played an instrument before, Mr. Hawkins?
Can play Stairway to Heaven on the kazoo.
The piano is considerably more demanding. But with hands like these, I'm sure you'll be a perfect student.
You'll have to excuse me. We just moved into a new house.
Come back in an hour.
Alrighty.
Come with me, Mr. Hawkins.
What was all that high-tech stuff at the front door?
Security. We're very isolated here. But our janitor, Mr. Toggle, is a mechanical genius. He can build anything.
They were thinking about having me again,
Right.
if they could pay me a little more money.
Okay, yeah.
Not a word. They didn't even haggle.
Definitely.
You know, they could have said, okay, maybe not that much, but we can give you this much percent. And that was it, you know, as far as I was concerned, because, you know, everybody liked what I did.
Definitely, you were a major character in Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think you definitely helped market the show and definitely brought the show up to...
So I'm not complaining, but I'm pointing a finger.
Right, and you have the right to, because I was also sent a tweet out to Sony Pictures and Goosebumps saying, how come Aron Tager is not in Goosebumps movie? He should be in the new movie coming out right now. And I wrote an email to the creator of Are You Afraid of the Dark as well, requesting them if to make a movie for Are You Afraid of the Dark now that Goosebumps is coming out. Maybe they can bring the concept to a major film production. I think that would be awesome for the fans.
I might just be still breathing at that time.
Definitely. And I also know that you appeared in a number of other films as well.
Oh yeah.
And you also
I've actually supported my other art, my major art really, by the films stuff that I did in Canada.
Right.
So that's been and some plays that I was in as well.
Right.
I played Big Daddy in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof at the Centaur Theatre in Montreal. And then I did an Arthur Miller piece, and for which I was nominated as supporting actor, and on like that.
Right.
Yeah.
You also did a cameo in the first Xmen movie as well, from what I
Well,
remember.
you might say a cameo. Yeah, I had two scenes
it was
in
it
it.
was a major part. You worked with Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was
you were,
lovely.
you were the MC in the
in
the
the
fighting
ring.
in the fighting
I'm
cage.
the guy, her grandchildren are not my grandchildren in a sense, because it's a remarriage. You see, we met in when I came to Canada. And so they love that line, you know, that where I say, whatever you do, don't hit him in the balls.
Classic. That's classic. Yeah.
In all my years, I've never seen anything like this. Are you gonna let this man walk away with your money? Ladies and gentlemen, our savior.
Whatever you do, don't hit him in the balls.
You said anything goes.
Anything goes, but he'll take it personal.
But it was a very good show, and it was a good thing to do too. Because
Definitely.
I watched the trick of how his claws come out.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That must have been a memorable moment.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And you also did some voices for animation as well. Right?
Yeah, I did a
With
voice for
Donkey Kong Country.
Kong. I played, what was his name? Grouchy. Cranky.
Cranky, yeah.
Yeah. Where is that whippersnapper?
Oh,
Donkey Kong. Yeah.
Pull the plug, sink the boat. Now the coconut will no longer float. Done.
You. I'm sorry, Cranky. Diddy and I...
I'm too tired for apologies, Donkey Kong. The important thing is you got the coconut back.
Next time we won't goof up. Promise.
Everybody out. We left Eddie with a smile on his face. Who knows how long it's gonna last? I'm getting some shut-eye while I can.
That goes for all of us. Sweet dreams.
Night-night.
that is so awesome.
I had a chance to sing too. That was fun.
That's really awesome. Yeah. So I'm here today to purchase one of your artworks, the Leonardo da Vinci piece.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is part of a series called Visitations, of which I've done some imaginative portraits of some of interesting characters in the world of art and philosophy.
Right.
So.
I'm a big fan of philosophy myself.
Oh, okay. Right.
And he's also giving me this as a bonus. He's gonna sign it for me.
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to sign it with this whiteout pen,
Okay.
if it's still working. Brandon Toy went out of business. I love these things. But there might be a little bit of ink left in here. Ah, yes. Okay.
So in Are You Afraid of the Dark, I know you played a couple of different characters.
Well, I did the clown.
Right.
And the barker, the one,
carny?
The carny.
Excuse me, lad. Don't believe in old Zebo, eh?
Who are you? I run this place, I do. And he's in there, all right. Just waiting. Pick the right door and you'll go free.
Pick the wrong door, and there he'll be.
Care to give it a go? Coming in, Mr. Brave Young Man?
Maybe another time.
Suit yourself. I'll be here. I'm always here.
Introduces the whole thing.
Right.
They sort of went after a kind of W.C. Fields style thing, and
I think that's one of the biggest episodes from the show. All the seasons.
But actually, I'll tell you a little secret. So I hope I don't get into trouble. DJ evidently wrote that thing because to get rid of his fear of clowns. I mean, a lot of people are afraid of clowns. Are weird.
Right.
And so, one of the other producers told me, yeah, when you get your clown costume on, go over to DJ. You watch him shiver. I said I would never do that to anybody. He said, oh, come on, it'd be fun. So I did. So, yeah. No, and I did this little voice when the kid is at home and the telephone rings and it's the clown, the ghost of the clown. He says, give me back my cigar.
Yeah.
Give me back my cigar.
One day's the best I'm gonna do.
Give it back. Give it back.
No way, Weege. You're not scaring me.
Such a classic.
Yeah.
That's such a classic.
That was pretty scary. Yeah.
From all the characters, which one did you enjoy portraying the most?
In Are You Afraid?
Yes.
Well, obviously, Dr. Vink. I had a chance
Yeah.
to develop him because Dr. Vink was always coming up with some new thing. The movie and the restaurant with the soup, the fear soup, you know. So each time it required, you know, I'm just an old-fashioned method actor, and I had to build a whole story in my mind about why I had to do this. And so the movie thing was, I've got these movies, and I'm going to show them. And people, and I know very well that people are going to love them. And then if they screw me, they'll be very sorry because I have certain powers. And of course, what happens is the Dracula figure comes out of the Nosferatu.
Escapes, right?
Yeah, and goes into the theater. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. No, I enjoyed that tremendously. And he's also like a classical character.
Definitely.
He goes to another time, you know.
One of the most notable characters in Canadian television history.
Yeah. Wow.
Definitely a major staple in a lot of young adults' childhood.
I've worked with some people your age in other shows, and they find out that who it was, and they say, "Well, he was scared." You know?
And from all the TV and film productions, which one did you most enjoy from all your work as a whole?
Oh, well,
It's a hard question.
No, it was a hard question because I had the opportunity to work with Ben Kingsley and with Peter Ustinov. And that was very enjoyable for a number of reasons, because it was a very interesting part based on a historical fact, the Salem Witch Trials.
Okay.
And I was playing a guy who, they hung a lot of people who they considered to be witches.
Right.
And this guy refused to collaborate and to confess to any of that. In fact, he said as much. I forget the lines, but he said as much that this was a crock, and he wouldn't have anything to do with it. And with Peter Ustinov was playing the interrogator. And to this day, it's like, Giles Corey, how do you plead? Guilty or innocent? And then finally they torture me by putting me under a wetsuit. No, this is and they made a fake rain, of course. I mean, real rain would. And they put stones on this guy. They actually did put stones one after the other until he was crushed to death.
Oh, wow.
Because he refused to participate. So my lines had to do with things like, my last line was, more weight. Every time he asked me, how do you plead? More weight. So it was a very interesting thing to play and required a lot of concentration.
Right.
And physical believability,
Right.
So I think that was but working with Peter Ustinov, who was my childhood hero because he was such a brilliant mimic and actor, that we actually were able to kid around in between shots, and we'd pretend to be, one point we were Southern senators, and, well, senators, it's been nice caucusing with you, was it been nice caucusing with you, and stuff like that. And then one time he was a cab driver in the South Bronx complaining about his gastritis. The man was incredible, and we had a lot of laughs, and for me it was a big deal to work with a fellow of this nature.
I can imagine.
So that was something. And it was an interesting movie, too.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So I guess that's the one you enjoyed the most.
Well, I enjoyed it because of working with somebody of that that quality,
magnitude.
And well, some of the other actors that I worked with also had a lot of good stuff in them. So.
So you're saying to the public that you have a few more films in you, if you're willing to
Well, I'm saying to the producers and directors that I have a few more films in before I kick off.
You hear that?
Yeah. So, because I'm still standing here, right?
Right, definitely. I really hope to see you on the big screen, and I hope they can do a movie for Are You Afraid of the Dark and bring the character back.
Well, what I wanted to do, and I mentioned it to DJ, sort of like, I wanted to have an event, a movie, where, because I was married to her, where what was her name anyway, the witch in the Twisted Claw.
Okay.
I wanted to have a kind of connection or a situation where we both were doing something. These two characters
To cross
were in
paths.
collusion.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
It would have been fun.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
So that would be lovely. I would love to do that, because she's a terrific actress. And because, women often are just shunted off quite often.
Right.
And, I always felt that I would have liked to have, a weird married couple.
Definitely. No, her character was memorable as well.
Oh, yeah, she was scary.
With the vase.
Oh, yeah.
With the vase. She's so agile that this was a very expensive original vase, this big vase. Okay. So it had to smash, and obviously that a fake smash.
Mm-hmm.
But she had to make sure that in the process of the foam on her, that the kids, when they hit her with the shaving cream, she had to make sure at the same time that this thing did not fall. The actual thing didn't fall. And she had 2-3 takes.
Oh, okay.
Each time she prevented it from actually hitting the ground while she was going crazy with the foam in her face.
Oh wow, quick reflexes.
Yes. So, you know, I think even for that they should send her a bonus, and I can
I concur. I concur.
You know?
So
Yeah.
when you started your passion for art and film, did it began with painting and sculptures?
Yeah, when I was a kid, it says in the movie that I did when I was very little. I mean, I always used to draw. I started drawing when I was sitting in the kitchen. My mother was cooking, and I was like 2 or 3, and I had a little pencil, and that's what it is. And kept on. So then afterwards, I went to the LaGuardia High School, which at that time was called the High School of Music and Art, and he had created a situation where kids in New York who couldn't afford private schools or anything like that had talented kids would have an opportunity to get something pretty much like a college education in a high school. And I took the exam and I got in, and I met all the most interesting young people of my age in New York. You know, people from every walk of life, every color, every class, so to speak. You know, Central Park people and stuff.
And you're
like
originally
that.
from Brooklyn, right?
I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah.
And when did you move to Toronto?
Oh, well, it was a combination of things. I had moved to Manhattan for a while, and I lived there as an actor. And
You drew it in 1977?
I think so.
Yeah.
It must say that.
I saw it on the website. It said 1977
because I was living in the country, on a country road in Vermont, in a little cottage for which I had very low rent, and I did that, and I did the Subway series and some other things that I was there. So
it's a great honor to have one of your pieces of artwork, especially from 1977, and a historical figure like this.
Yeah.
From one of my childhood heroes. It means a lot to me.
And I never met him, so I don't know how accurate the portrait was, but I compared
the pictures. It looks pretty accurate.
I took it from some of the self-portraits and stuff like that. So and well, he was a great mind.
I recommend the fans of Are You Afraid of Dark to check out his page on Facebook. Take a look at his artwork and come down if you live in Toronto. Purchase one yourself.
Yeah.
And,
we're going to have Daniela is talking to me about having a special showing here at some point later on.
That's a great idea.
We'll kind of have a wine and cheese thing, and
open
people
gallery
going up and down, and and he's been so supportive, So it's
I'm glad to hear that.
Really nice.
Well, it was a great honor.
Yeah.
I appreciate this very much.
You're a good interviewer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
This is actually my first interview.
Good start. Good start. Let me get this into some carryable shape.
Okay.
This is great.
Yeah, I definitely.
And also, I gotta have give me your address and stuff, so I can let you know what's going on.
Definitely, yeah.
We would definitely come to that gathering.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we would definitely come in a heartbeat.
I'll help you market it as well and get the word out.
Yeah, and Daniela is, have you met him? Or just
no, not yet.
It would be good to meet him. He's a doll. I mean, he's really something. He came with his girlfriend here, and he had bought those drawings, and then they came, and it was just, wonderful for after all these years, because the art world is really sort of narrow for me. But now with this, I feel it's opening up because I've been doing all this work and lots and lots of work.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, this is part of a whole series I did in Vermont when I had a very dear friend who ran a pottery. He actually taught me how to build.
It's beautiful.
Did a whole bunch of things.
I like the way you made her face. Like it's you could tell it's very feminine.
Yes.
Very beautiful.
Yes, and then when the light comes through, if you walk by it, her eyes move too.
I know, it's
I'm
beautiful.
glad you like it, yeah. Oh, great. I think that's the back. It's all hand built, mounted at first. When the clay is wet, I put some newspaper and other things so it will
Hold it.
not fall. And then at a certain point, when it gets what they call leather hard, I can take that stuff out and work it a little bit. So I did a whole bunch of things in his pottery.
I see them. They're beautiful.
And, well, I'm glad you like that's one of my favorite pieces too. You'll have to pop out to the garden for a minute. You'll see some of the early stonework. At a certain point, I'm not getting quite as much acting work, although I did an episode of Heroes recently.
Oh,
Really?
did you?
Yeah.
The Reborn?
The new one, yeah.
Oh,
Heroes
wow.
Reborn. Yeah, I get killed because I'm not going to come back. I did the first episode.
Oh,
But
wow.
it was good money for 3 days. It's
Yeah.
not bad in this business. And that's going to be coming on soon because they just finished.
Right, yeah. No, I heard a lot about it. And the first series was really spectacular.
That's what I heard, yeah.
So the second one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no, there's some good people in it. We had a DLP, a director of photography. She was a German film, cinematographer. She was working with us, and I'm hoping that my little close-up was captured because they gave me a nice little close-up, even though I was killed. So there we are.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Well, I'm just delighted that people are still interested in this and that they remember it and they think well of it. It's quite wonderful because, you forget. I mean, I didn't forget because I've run into people all the time. But now it's, according to Ed Danilov, I mean, there are people contacting the website and they want in. Because I don't do anything more, but I make art. And when I'm on a set, I make art. Oh, I'm working on a movie with Fox Pappas. He wants to do an animated film with a script that was based on something by Kafka that has to do with the story of this guy who wakes up one morning and finds that he's a giant beetle, and called Metamorphosis. And because, well, I'll tell you about it some other time, but it's an interesting thing. So I'm working on some drawings that maybe help for the development of the thing for the final. So we're looking for an animator.
Yeah.
And hopefully he's applied for a grant, so maybe get some money to continue with it. And it's a very interesting project.
Yeah, I'll look out for that, definitely. Hopefully it comes
but he's out there, on YouTube. But the film is out there on YouTube, so and it's Fox Pappas.
Okay.
I don't have a copy of it, and I'd lay one on you, but
I'll look it up.
Daniela has seen it, yeah.
I'll definitely look it up.
It's an interesting film, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah. So the pieces in the garden, you said, is that the one?
Yes, come on, let me show you. Let's go out there.
The Unity, right?
Oh, the
I think
Unity.
it's television
They
material.
work together.
Right.
Yeah.
And they actually find a whole world, which I know about from the Roman days. The slaves used to go into the mines and then they never come back.
Oh, wow.
So it's where they go to.
Right.
This is a piece from the ruins of a hospital in Brooklyn. When I had a studio in Brooklyn, this is limestone, and I started to really carve. And this is one of the column that fell and broke, and I did another piece.
So it's the remains of the building? Or?
Yeah, it's part of it, so I used to get some fellows in the neighborhood to help me. There were a lot of nice Puerto Rican people there, and I had a lot of fun with them. And they helped me drag it to this old barber shop that I had as a studio. And so I was carving, and this was carved there, and this was carved there too. That's in the 60s, late 60s. And there's some stuff out in the back.
The detail on the face on this one is amazing. Very well detailed.
Look at the detail.
It's a piece of alabaster, and it doesn't do well in stoops in Brooklyn and these neighborhoods like this. You see?
That's so scary.
So I turned it over on the side, and I made this piece. This one's beautiful, and it's
Pieces are for sale?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? This is a beautiful piece.
All you have to do is put aside a certain amount.
Yeah, actually, look at the back of the
Yeah, come around.
creatures are climbing. People are climbing
This
up.
is good stone too. This New York has a lot of old buildings in Indiana limestone, which is very sturdy. It doesn't, you know, it just gets a little dirty maybe in New York, but it really hangs in there.
Right.
So
The back.
There is a goddess over there.
yeah, this is a story. This is based on the myth of Io, who was a nymph who was turned into a cow by Zeus because he knew that his wife was getting jealous of his interest in this nymph. The
Like
gods.
Greek mythology.
Yeah. So she turned into cow. He turned her into a cow so that she wouldn't find her. But she found her because she knew what this guy was always up to, and she sent a fly. The famous story of the gadfly, a fly to sting her. The poor girl she was not even interested in this guy. But who do you punish? You punish the victim, right? Okay. So in this story by Ovid, who's a famous Roman poet, she runs and runs and runs, and then she loses her cow body and becomes an Egyptian goddess.
Wow.
She runs over to Egypt and she becomes Isis.
Oh wow.
I find everything that people throw out, and
Yeah.
I think maybe I can make something.
Yeah, that's very
This
genius.
needs a good scrub.
Yeah, it needs a scrub, but
Yeah.
that's also from marble. And this is part of the remnants of the scraps of a steel piece that I designed for a park in Vermont, and which I had cut by a guy who knew how to do that because I'm not a welder. And this was one of the leftover pieces of steel that I turned into and it needs to be cleaned and washed. And this is some more of that limestone.
The remains of the building?
Yeah, remains of various buildings, yeah. One of the interesting ones I don't have, and I do have a photograph of it, is shortly after Kennedy was assassinated, my father came up to me and said, I want you to make me a sculpture of Kennedy or something like that. Besides, I'm paying your rent. I said, okay. So I went about, at one point there was an empty lot around the corner from where I had the studio, and on a rainy day when the earth was really wet, and these kids were playing there, and I didn't know what was there originally. I found out later it was a Catholic church that had burned, and so there were pieces of stone there. So I remember that Ray said, I'm walking around, this kid comes over and says, what are you looking for, mister? I said, I'm looking for a piece of stone that I can carve. I got a piece of stone for you, mister. And we go over to the edge of a stone sticking out of the mud, and I pick it up, and something falls from it. And it was a praying bead,
oh, like a rosary?
Rosary.
Yeah.
Fell from that somebody had dropped in the church.
Yeah.
And it was weird because I was thinking about Kennedy and all that. And I'm not a Catholic or anything.
Right.
I'm just a crazy artist. And the kid says, can I have this, mister? I said, sure. And then I took the stone, I got it back, it was a good size. But when I got it to the studio, I realized I couldn't do a bust with the shape that it was. But I did come to doing a 3/4 view of his head, which I used, photographs and stuff. And then on the inside, I had enough stone and I carved a Pieta, a miniature Pieta, of the Pieta is the Virgin mourning the death of Christ. This time it was shaped like Jackie when she was holding him in the car. She was killed.
Oh, wow.
And it's,
That's
I have
remarkable.
a couple of photographs of it. So somebody bought it some years ago, a young artist who had some money, bought it. And then he went to Florida. I don't know what happened to it. He died and all this. But one day I'm going to look it up, find it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
But it was a friend of mine wanted to send it to the Kennedy family and everything. And I didn't think it was in good taste. She says, no, they should see this. She says, but I couldn't think that it would be something that they would want to look at shortly after. It was only
Too soon.
Yeah. So that didn't happen. But
This piece that you have here on the wall, that's a very nice one too.
oh, this is another stone.